The first line we're going to match up with is right at C2, the posterior aspect. We're going to draw this line straight on down. The second line we're going to draw is at the back of C7. And if you can't see 7 very well, start at the front of it and roll back, which is just like this. And it matches this line perfectly. Now, as you can see, these two lines barely intersect, so you're going to make sure you get where they converge. And this is a negative curve, so when you read it, make sure you mark this as a negative in whatever degrees it would be. And I'm going to try to get to
Can you go ahead and put the numbers on there?
Mm-hmm. And it's -8 degrees. So then we want to make sure we make this stand out to our patient. So I'm going to take my red and mark -8 degrees. And I always slash it. And I put the normal curve, which is 43. And I'm going to look on our chart right on the wall. And I'll find -8. And it tells me that our patient has 119% loss of curve. So we're going to take that red pencil back out and write that there's 119% loss of curve. The second line we're going to draw on here is our atlas plane line. So you want to get right on the bottom of the anterior tubercle and right at the bottom of the posterior tubercle. We're going to draw a line that matches them. This line also helps us find our anterior head carriage. So you draw your first one here, and the second line has to be perpendicular to the film. You go right to the bottom of the posterior aspect of atlas and draw it straight across. We're going to find this angle too, so you want to get to the point where they converge and measure it. And this is 12 degrees.
Can you measure that curve one more time? 13 degrees.
13 degrees.
Okay.
So I marked this one at the very bottom, 13 degrees. Normal atlas plane line should be 29, and I just dash it and I write an APL. Okay. Next, I draw in the posterior aspects of each vertebra. We want to mark it in red. We want to show the difference in the curves, which we're going to draw in next. And we use the ruler to make sure the lines are straight so our patients don't wonder why the vertebrae all look different. Now 7 and 2 are already in black, so there's no point in going over them in red.
Can you go ahead and put numbers on those vertebrae?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Not in red. Everybody use black.
Nice and big. There you go.
There's one more thing we have to draw in, which we normally do in pencil, but because we want to show you, we're going to do it in black. So you go to the posterior aspect of 7, you want to draw a dot. Now what you're going to do is take the ruler and you want to make sure that it's straight. So I always line it up, push up the film, make sure it's in. I line it up to the bottom of the film. Got my 18 there. I'm going to draw a line straight up.
It doesn't look parallel.
The 18 straight. Now this line is going to tell us our anterior translation. As you can see, our patient has a pretty big gap. So you're going to take this line straight across. We're going to go to the top of C2. And you're going to measure it. So I put the 18 right on the line. I can read that it's 10, 20, let's say 23 centimeters anterior, or millimeters anterior. So we're also going to mark that up there. We want to make sure the docs know what the number is. And I just write anterior trans. Now we use this line from C7 and then the back of 7 to make our curve, which we use using our CVP line drawer.